The focus of this exercise is to model a forged ring, which is a very traditional goldsmithing form. And we are going to model in millimeters and utilize solids and a cage editing tool to kind of refine our form a little bit. So we're going to begin with a millimeter file. And for this exercise, I'm actually going to be using the grid a lot. So I'm going to go in to my document properties and edit my grid so that my snap spacing is 1/2 millimeter. Then I'm going to make sure that my grid snap, my ortho, and my planar snap are all turned on at the bottom of my screen. I'm going to begin my forged ring by drawing some circles in the front view. And I'm going to draw these at 0, 0, 0. So by typing 0, 0, 0 into the command line and hitting enter, it starts it right there. And then I want my first circle to be an 8.2 millimeter radius. And my second circle is going to be a little bit bigger than that. So we're going to start at 0, 0, 0 again by typing 0, 0, 0 into the command line. And this one's going to be 10.2 millimeter radius. So right now I've got a pretty boring ring band. So I'm going to edit it a little bit by turning on the control points for the exterior circle. I'm going to grab my points and pull them up about 2 millimeters. Using the grid snap. Let's see, that's kind of a little bit further, but it'll show up better in the video that way. I'm going to turn my edit points off by right mousing on the tool that I used to turn them on. Now I'm going to actually later set a pearl in the top of my ring, but I'm going to go ahead and set the space up for it now because it'll be a little bit more efficient to do it this way. So I'm going to draw another circle. We'll use a 5 millimeter pearl, so the radius of my circle will be 2.5 millimeters. And I'm going to do some trimming. So I'm going to select my ring shank as my cutting object, press enter, remove the top of that, and press enter. I'm going to do another trim, repeat trim, where I select that bottom part, enter, and remove the exterior of the ring band. So now I'm going to extrude these construction lines as a solid. Before I can extrude these two, it would be better if I joined them. So I'm going to highlight both of them and then click on the join tool. And it says 2 curves into 1 closed curved. So now they'll extrude really well. I'm going to put my extrusion on a different layer so that I can turn off my construction lines. So I'm going to highlight those construction lines, go to my solids tools, and hit extrude planar curve. So I want this to kind of be centered on the 0 plane, so I'm actually going to change the extrusion to both sides, and that way I can type in 2.5 millimeters and it's 5 millimeters across. It's a little bit thick, but that's okay. I'll shade the perspective view so it's easier to visualize. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the construction lines and make my current layer the purple layer. So this is where I'm going to set up the cage that I can use to kind of deform and edit my solid. So I'm going to go to transform, cage editing, create cage, and it says first corner or base, but I'm going to use the bounding box option, and when I click on bounding box it's going to say select objects in cage. So I'm going to pick my ring and press enter, and I want this to work on a world coordinate system so it'll be relevant to my form. I'm going to accept the defaults for point count and grid. There we go. And then I'm going to go back to transform, cage editing, and cage edit, and it says select captive objects, so that's my solid. Press enter, and it says select control point object, that's my purple square. And I'm going to press enter. My control points come up. So I'm not going to edit the form in front view, I'm going to edit it in right view. So so you can watch it in perspective view, I'm going to actually just zoom in right view. So I'm going to draw a box actually in right view around a set of control points, and you can see how by drawing the box in right view it selects all of the points that are behind the ones that are just showing up in the right view. I'm going to eke those in about 1/2 millimeter using the grid. And then I'm going to pull in the 2 outer control points a full millimeter. Snap twice. And then this one, snap there. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab this one and eke it in another 1/2 millimeter. There we go. Same on the left side. And then down at the bottom, the set of control points can come in 1/2 millimeter. There we go. There. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and turn my edit points off. And so now I have my ring shank that's forged and edited, and now I'll use my pearl. So I'll use my white layer for that. And grab a sphere. And I'm going to draw my sphere in front view. It's a 5 millimeter pearl, so 2.5. And it looks like it's a 1/2 millimeter high, so I'm going to zoom in and pull it down. There we go. So there is my forged ring with pearl.